friends, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Anna and today we're making frijoles refritos or refried beans. This is a great way to use leftover beans. So these are just either pinto, black, sometimes you can even use red beans, mashed and refried with a little bit of oil, some onion, garlic, a little bit of spice. You can use a jalapeno, any type of chile that you have. It's a wonderful, like I said, recipe to use leftover beans. You can eat it with tacos, you can eat it with huevos rancheros, you can eat it by themselves, you can just like do so much with it, which I personally love. I love refried beans. So let me show you the ingredients you're going to need so we can go ahead and get started. Like I said, ingredients are very just simple and easy. You're going to need a can of pinto beans. If you don't want to use canned beans, you can make your own. And as I'm making the beans, I'll tell you how you can make them. You're going to need some oil. I'm using avocado oil, any type of neutral oil like canola, vegetable. I tend to stay away from those oils as much as possible because they can be highly inflammatory. So I like to use avocado oil just because of that. But traditionally you will use lard. I never really have lard on hand. A quarter to half an onion. This is a tiny onion, garlic clove. Now, I normally use a jalapeno. That's kind of like my favorite chile to use for refried beans, but you can use a serrano. I ordered groceries about 4 days ago, and the lady came back with a serrano chile instead of a jalapeno chile. And I went to the store yesterday, and they had the serrano where the jalapenos usually are, like where the tag is. So it was an honest mistake, but they didn't have any jalapenos, so I couldn't get any. Or you can also use a dried chile. This is a guajillo chile. Any type of chile you have or you like, you can use. I'm only going to use half of the serrano because serrano chiles are very spicy, and my spice tolerance is not very high, so I'm only going to use half the serrano. These are quite mild, so you can use the whole thing. And this is optional, but I like to use a little bit of cumin powder just for a little bit extra taste, and a little bit of salt. Yep, that's pretty much it. So you're going to need your skillet. I'm going to let it preheat on medium heat real quick so I can start working on my onion and my garlic and all of that good stuff. So I'm just going to use, this one's pretty small, so I'm going to use the whole thing. Like I was saying, if you want to make your own beans, it's very simple. I know you're just gonna grab about 1 to 2 cups of beans, depending on how much you want to make, of dried beans, of course. You're going to add about, I would say, 4 to 5 cups of water. You're also going to add half an onion, like a, you don't want to chop it or anything with it. You just want to add half an onion to the water with a few garlic cloves. You bring it to a boil. You bring down the heat. You let it simmer for 1 to 2 hours, just until the beans are tender, and that's it. It's just simple. Oh, you also need to add a tiny bit of salt, of course, to the water, and a little bit, just like about a tablespoon of oil, and that's it. That's how you make very simple pinto beans. But I love to have canned beans on hand because they're very quick and easy, and I don't have to wait. Sometimes I don't have 1 or 2 hours to make beans. And the good thing about making beans is that you can actually freeze them, and they freeze very well for up to like 2-3 months, as long as you freeze it properly, of course. But you can just make them, freeze them, and then you can use them any way you like. So in here, as you can see, I'm just chopping my onion. I am going to blend the onion and the garlic and the jalapeno once it's done cooking, just because I really like a creamy refried bean, and I find that even if I mash it, it doesn't get as creamy as I would like it. So I personally like to just blend this once they're done cooking, but that is completely optional. My skillet is quite hot. It's a medium heat. I'm going to add about, let's say, 3 tablespoons to a quarter cup of oil. These are refried beans, so you need a lot of oil to obviously fry them. You don't need an extreme amount of oil, but you do need quite a good amount of it. So to the skillet, we add the beans and the garlic, the onion, and the jalapeno serrano or any other type of chile you're using. I did leave the garlic a bit on the bigger side. I didn't mince it too much because otherwise it would burn. If you're not going to blend it, what you can do is wait a little bit longer to add the garlic. So cook your onion and the chiles first, and then you can add the garlic once it's almost done. My onion, chile, and garlic are looking great. As you can see, they're starting to get a bit golden. They're pretty much tender. So now I'm going to add them into my blender cup. I'm doing this with a slotted spatula just because I don't want to take that much oil with me. Now all I'm going to do is add a little bit of that like bean water to help them along just a tiny bit. That way they blend a little bit easier. So I'm going to blend this off camera and I'll be right back. The onion slurpee is looking great, so I'm going to add this back into the pan. Like I said, this is totally optional. I just personally don't want to bite down on pieces of chile or onion or anything like that. So this is just me being weird, but that's personally how I like to do it. Let me add more of this liquid so we can really just get every last bit of it out. This is looking more than wonderful. Now I'm going to add in my beans. Okay, so I'm just going to add a touch more water. I like mine a bit more on, like, I wouldn't say soupy side, but I don't like mine super dry. This is going to cook on medium-high heat for about 5 minutes. Once it starts boiling, I'm going to mash the beans and then we're gonna let it cook for a little bit longer. So you can see my beans are boiling. They have reduced a little bit, like the water has evaporated a little bit, and now this is the moment I'm gonna bring the heat actually to medium. And now there's the fun part. You just gotta mash your beans until you have reached your desired consistency. Some people like it really creamy. Some people like it a bit on the chunkier side. I like mine somewhat in between. You can do this with a masher, kind of like this, kind of like a potato masher or any type of masher you have, or you can also do it with a cup. Okay, so I think this looks good for me as of now. If I need to mash it a little bit more, then I will later on, but this looks pretty good. So they're almost there. You're just gonna let them cook until pretty much they have reached your desired consistency. I am gonna add salt, and I'm also going to add my cumin at this point. So a little bit of salt and my cumin. I'm gonna mix that in. I love cumin. I'm going to try them to see if they need a tiny bit more salt. They're perfect. I am gonna add a tiny bit more salt, just a pinch more. Okay, these are perfect now. So I'm gonna turn off the heat. This is absolutely perfection. Way better than any of the canned stuff you can buy. I really don't like, I haven't found a brand that I like when it comes to refried beans, like canned refried beans. They all taste so artificial to me. I don't know, they don't have much flavor. But this one is absolutely perfection, and it only took me like 15 minutes. So simple. Now I'm going to serve them up. And you can serve them with a little bit of queso. I'll show you now how I personally like to serve mine. Okay, I'm gonna leave that bit behind because that's gonna be for me. Let me get all of this out of the way. Okay, so we add a little bit of cheese. I'm using queso fresco, and crumbly Mexican cheese. You can use cotija, but there you have it, your refried beans. Very simple. Like I said, it only took me like, I don't know, like 10-15 minutes. If you guys enjoy this recipe, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. The full written recipe with all the measurements are on my website at anitasdelightsrecipes.com. You can find a direct link to it in the description box. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.